China headlines on this Wednesday afternoon, February 8th. Turkey declares a state of emergency for 3 months in 10 earthquake-affected provinces as the death toll in Turkey and Syria surges well past 7,000. And Korea sends its own team of military personnel and rescue experts, as well as medical supplies, to join their global counterparts in Turkey for relief operations. Meanwhile, Korea's current account ends in positive territory last year with a surplus of $29.8 billion, but pundits point out it is the lowest in more than a decade. We start in the Middle East, where rescue personnel dug through rubble, some even with their bare hands, to look for survivors, as the death toll soars well above 7,000. Our Lee Jae has the latest.
A state hospital in the port city of Iskenderun is completely in ruins. The hospital collapsed with patients still inside. Unfortunately, this is just one of many buildings that were completely destroyed due to the massive earthquake that hit southern Turkey and nearby Syria. And the same holds true for nearby Syria, as witnesses describe the devastation.
At about 4:20 in the morning, the earthquake began and it continued for a minute or more. Cement blocks began to fall. We rushed out and heard that in the collapsed building, there were still people alive under the rubble.
As the search and rescue operation continues, the death toll also continues to rise rapidly, with the figure going well past 7,000 on Wednesday. That figure includes over 2,000 reported deaths in neighboring Syria. Heavy rain, as well as cold weather, has hampered the search and rescue operation, with fears that the weather conditions will hamper the search for survivors. Cold and snowy weather is expected throughout the week, with overnight temperatures in affected areas as low as -5 degrees Celsius. With poor weather conditions combined with the sheer damage caused by the quake, the WHO predicts the death toll will rise to over 20,000. And according to the organization's chief, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, it's now a race against time.
Numbers do not tell us about the perilous situation that many families now face, having lost everything, forced to sleep outside in the middle of winter. It's now a race against time.
While Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Tuesday declared a 3-month-long state of emergency for 10 provinces hit by the quake, the government also declared a mourning period of 1 week and closed schools across the country until February 13th. Lee Jae, Arirang News.
And the international community has been quick to respond to the devastation in Turkey and Syria. South Korea, for its part, has sent its largest single contingent of relief personnel at any one time, which, according to our Foreign Ministry correspondent Bae Eun-ji, landed less than an hour ago.
With thousands of people waiting desperately to be rescued following the powerful earthquakes in Turkey, the South Korean government has sent more than 100 rescue workers. A KC-330 military transport aircraft left South Korea Tuesday night, carrying a 118-member rescue team and medical supplies. The team was comprised of 50 military personnel and more than 60 members of the Korea Disaster Relief Team. This is the first time that South Korea has decided to send this many rescue workers at once to another country. This comes after President Yoon on Tuesday sent his condolences and ordered officials to send the rescue team and medical supplies quickly, describing Turkey as a brother nation that sent troops to fight alongside South Korea during the Korean War from 1950 to 1953.
형제 국가의 피를 피해가 겪는 고통과 어려움을 돕는 것은 너무나 당연한 일입니다.
Following President Yoon's remarks, Seoul's foreign ministry held a meeting with related ministries on Tuesday afternoon and said it has also decided to offer $5 million in humanitarian assistance. Other countries around the world, including the US, China, Finland, Sweden, and Israel, are also rushing to send rescue workers, equipment, and aid.
Anything Turkey needed that we could provide, they should pick up the phone and let us know. We stand ready, as an ally should, to help our ally in a time of need.
Even countries that have strained relations with Turkey, including Greece, offered assistance by sending a team of emergency rescue workers and dogs to assist in rescue efforts.
We will go there, we will see, and we will handle it. Our job at the moment is to assist as much as we can with the live victims that are trapped.
Arirang News.
In related news, Pope Francis has sent his deepest condolences to all those affected by the deadly quake in Turkey and Syria. Also taking to Twitter on Tuesday, he voiced his sorrow at the pain and loss caused by the catastrophe and urged for prayer for the deceased, the injured, as well as their loved ones, and for the emergency personnel racing against time to seek survivors. Meanwhile, according to the Vatican News on the same day, the Pontifical Mission Societies in the U.S. has launched a relief fund to help victims in Turkey and Syria. Here on the local front, the annual Central Integrated Defense meeting was held for the first time since 2017 earlier on this Wednesday. Some 160 senior officials were present, led by President Yoon Suk-yeol. Now, representing the military, police, Coast Guard, civilian affairs and national intelligence bureaus, authorities called for an integrated approach to protect the public from North Korea's escalating provocations. Participants also agreed to resume civilian air defense drills starting May. Now, these exercises have not been held for the last 6 years. Plans to install evacuation facilities in public buildings and large complexes such as shopping centers and apartment buildings were also addressed. Meanwhile, North Korea's Kim Jong-un, has praised his military as being the strongest in the world. According to Pyongyang state media on this Wednesday, the remarks were shared at a banquet following a visit to military barracks with his daughter on Tuesday to mark the 75th founding anniversary of his army. The report pointed out that Kim made the visit with his, quote, respected daughter, referring to Kim Jue, who is believed to be his second child. He made no mention of South Korea nor the U.S., but pundits believe he may do so during a widely expected military parade later today. Korea posted a current account surplus last year, but the amount fails to compare to that recorded in the year 2021. Our Kim Hyun-sung explains.
South Korea's current account surplus last year shrunk to an 11-year low. According to the Bank of Korea on Wednesday, the surplus for 2022 was just $29.83 billion, its lowest since 2011. It's also a 65% fall from 2021's surplus of more than $85 billion, a surplus posted when the country was still struggling through the COVID-19 pandemic.
Although the surplus has shrunk a lot compared to the year before, considering the high prices of energy, the economic slowdown in major countries, and the IT sector's decline, the numbers came back better than expected.
In fact, the surplus for 2022 is actually higher than the BOK's previous forecast of a $25 billion surplus for the year. Asia's fourth largest economy swung through ups and downs in its current account balance last year, seeing deficits in August and November. It was able to turn a corner in December with a $2.68 billion surplus from the roughly $220 million deficit in the month before. The central bank says that the narrow deficit in the goods account and an improvement in the main income account helped bring the account back into the black. But the slowing global economy and the sluggish demand for IT products could mean a rocky future. The Bank of Korea said on Wednesday that with uncertainties continuing to brew overseas, the account balance may wheel through more ups and downs in the coming months. Kim Hyun-sung, Arirang News.
Over at the Parliament earlier on Tuesday, opposition lawmakers and the Yoon administration clashed over hefty heating bills and their repercussions on the public. Here's our National Assembly correspondent Han Sung-woo.
Officials from the Yoon Suk-yeol administration took part in the second day of this year's first parliamentary Q&A session at the National Assembly, where lawmakers demanded answers for the current state of the nation's economy, the rise in heating costs in particular. Questioned by the main opposition Democratic Party of Korea, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo defended the government's decision to raise heating bills and energy costs, saying the government has to prioritize sound finances over its popularity.
Mr. Prime Minister, tell me then, what is the government for?
The government's responsible for making sure South Korea is financially sound and properly recognized as so, both domestically and internationally. A populist government is not what we need.
The opposition accused the government of shifting the blame onto the Moon Jae-in administration and suggested expanding support measures to the wider public. To that, the Prime Minister said energy vouchers and discounts should be focused primarily on the socio-economically vulnerable. The ruling People Power Party, meanwhile, blamed the cost hikes on years of the previous administration's nuclear phase-out policy and accused it of freezing the energy rates for far too long.
Why do you think the previous administration ignored the Korea Gas Corporation's requests for rate hikes?
Liquefied natural gas costs began rising in early 2021 and soared in the second half of the year. Had the economy been taken into account, they would have increased the rates. That would have been the desirable option. There were several other considerations being made at the time, I believe.
Prime Minister Han, meanwhile, opposed the idea of imposing a windfall tax on energy companies, and also told lawmakers that supplementary budget bills for now are unnecessary. Scheduled for Wednesday afternoon is another questioning session on education, society, and culture. But grabbing the headlines will be the opposition's ongoing impeachment motion against Interior Minister Lee Sang-min over the government's alleged inadequate response to the Itaewon crowd crush, which the Democratic Party, holding a majority in parliament, could pass unilaterally. Han Sung-woo, Arirang News.
President Yoon Suk-yeol has shared 20 key tasks for his administration, including reforms in the public sector as well as in the labor arena as pledged earlier, that is. Our top office correspondent Kim Do-yeon has more.
Labor practice reformation based on the rule of law is the Yoon Suk-yeol administration's top priority, with it being number one of the 20 key tasks announced by the presidential office on Tuesday. This means instilling the rule of law between labor unions and employers and modernizing labor-related policies while also tackling labor market segmentation. The list comes as the president was briefed by 22 ministries and agencies across December and January. And during Tuesday's cabinet meeting in the country's administrative capital, Sejong Government Complex, the list was the main agenda.
어떻게 시장을 조정하고 어떻게 시장을 공정하게 관리할 것인지, 어떠한 인센티브를 제공해서 민간이 자율과 창의를 바탕으로 다양한 상품과 서비스 그리고 경제적 가치가 창출되도록 할 것인지에 대해서 심도 있게 논의했습니다.
Reforming the education sector and the national pension system came number 2 and 3, respectively, tasks Yoon has talked about previously. But a new reformation effort was also announced, the public service sector.
공직자들의 마인드가 바뀌지 않으면 경제 전쟁에서 살아남기 어렵습니다. 보다 민첩하고 유연한 정부로 거듭나야 하겠습니다. 또한 민간 수준의 유연한 인사 시스템과 파격적인 성과주의도 도입해서 활력이 넘치는 공직사회를 만들어야 합니다.
In fact, following the cabinet meeting, he sat down with 150 government employees, with around half of them being millennials or Gen Z. He took his time to explain his vision for the young public service workers while listening to what they had to say. Also, among the tasks, a few of them centered around new technology. One of them being to foster startups and the other being to foster key strategic technologies such as the space industry. The president also took time to visit the nation's main science city, Daejeon, around 30 kilometers from Sejong. Meeting with startup founders at Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology's business incubator, he emphasized his motivation to support those in tech.
정부가 국정을 이념이 아니라 과학에 맞추고 또 글로벌 스탠다드에 맞춰서 세계 최고의 혁신 허브를 지향할 때 우리 기업들도 세계 기업들을 뛰어넘을 수 있을 것입니다.
Other items on the list include efforts to boost the economy as well as creating a science-based safety control system. The presidential office said that a task force will be formed to help with the cooperation among agencies and ministries in promoting the 20 tasks. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
As one tech columnist has put it, searching the web is poised to turn into chatting with the web. Now, this reality comes amid the heated race for AI chatbots among tech giants. Our Song Yujin reports.
The AI arms race is fiercer than ever. Following the meteoric rise of ChatGPT, an artificial intelligence chatbot made by OpenAI, multiple tech giants are working to launch their own versions. ChatGPT rose to fame after its free public testing debut last November, with over 1 million users signing up within the first week. The latest company to release a chatbot is Microsoft.
And it's a new day in search. It's a new paradigm for search. Rapid innovation is going to come. In fact, a race starts today in terms of what you can expect, and we're going to move.
The company on Tuesday unveiled its revamped search engine Bing, equipped with AI chatbot technology at its Washington headquarters. With the updates, a list of search results is just part of what Bing provides. It will also answer questions, chat with users, and generate content in response to users' demands. Microsoft says its users will be able to fully access the service in the coming weeks. It added that it's also going to integrate AI technology into its Edge web browser. Microsoft's reveal comes a day after Google announced plans to roll out its own ChatGPT rival, Bard. The CEO of Google and parent company Alphabet announced on Monday that Bard is open to trusted testers, with plans to make the service available to the public in the coming weeks. Chinese tech giant Baidu is also joining the frenzy. The company released a statement on Monday that its chatbot project, dubbed ErnieBot, will likely complete internal testing in March before being made public. Song Yujin, Arirang News.
Helping seniors improve their digital literacy is an important task on both the local and national levels amid an aging society and Korea's planned broader digital transformation. Now, that being said, our Shin Se-byeol covers some of the current efforts aimed at boosting engagement between the elderly and their electronic environment. Do take a look.
Digitalization. For some, it has indeed made their lives much easier and better. But that's not exactly the case for others, the elderly. To ensure the digital inclusion of seniors, local governments and institutions are offering a variety of social services. One is the Seoul City Government's Digital Helper Service. These helpers assist seniors in using self-service machines for issuing civil documents at local district offices. Guided by digital helpers, seniors can handle the process smoothly.
Using self-service machines is faster and more convenient than in-person service, but seniors feel intimidated operating them. I guide them to enter the correct information, allowing them to complete the process quickly.
To ensure digital dropouts become independent in the modern digital era, digital education is also offered at senior welfare centers too.
From web surfing to mobile banking, seniors are given opportunities to learn digital skills, helping them to make the most out of smart devices.
In beginners classes, seniors learn how to operate basic mobile apps, including how to send text messages and how to pull up emojis. Once they get used to it, they move on to the next level to learn more advanced skills such as ordering groceries.
I can now interact more with my friends and can even boast about it to them.
Another major challenge is operating self-service kiosks as they replace front-counter employees at places like fast food chains and movie theaters. What used to be a huge challenge, however, isn't a problem anymore. They may seem slow, but they successfully get to the end by following instructions step by step.
There was very little I could do with smart devices, but after taking this class, I feel so much difference in my daily life. Sometimes I feel like I can even do better than my kids.
The digital divide for seniors is closing. They are taking baby steps in their tech journeys thanks to various efforts in place. An enriching life is within reach, with technology now accessible to them. 신세벽, Arirang News.
Here in Korea, permanent foreign residents are allowed to vote in regional elections. The right was granted back in 2005 in hopes that Korea's neighboring countries would grant the same right to their permanent Korean residents. Well, this has not happened, and thus calls for change are mounting here. Our political correspondent Lee Si-hoo reports.
In 2005, South Korea became the first Asian country to allow non-citizens who are permanent residents to vote in local elections. Those eligible must be 18 or older and have held permanent resident status for at least 3 years. They can't vote in presidential elections or for National Assembly seats, but they are able to vote for regional leaders, which include governors of provinces and city mayors. South Korea had a specific motivation in adopting this policy.
Because of our unique history, there are lots of overseas Koreans living in China and Japan. But they had little political voice in those countries despite their population and economic power. We decided to take the lead in granting suffrage to foreigners, as that can serve as grounds for enabling the overseas Koreans' right to vote in the countries of their residence.
But recently, some lawmakers have pushed for reform in the current suffrage system so that it is based on reciprocity.
Reciprocity is the main rule when it comes to international relations, whether it be in the economy or in politics. So I think it's necessary to only allow voting rights for citizens of countries that also allow voting for overseas Koreans. I think this will help reflect the exact opinions of the citizens.
Hong added that he hopes the change will encourage more foreigners in South Korea to naturalize and become South Korean citizens, helping population issues. A city council member who in the past was a Chinese citizen but later became a Korean citizen explains that we should view permanent residents as part of our community and acknowledge their rights.
There was a change in my expectations for Korea and the direction of life once I was eligible to vote. Other foreigners I know also say that the right to vote has helped them with their life in Korea.
Opinions vary among the non-citizens themselves.
I think it's okay. If they stay 3 years and work here and they don't have any problems with law, and why not?
I think the voting is the right for the citizens. If you are a citizen, then you can vote. If you are not, like I am not a citizen, so I don't have a right, and I should not have a right for that.
As for how much impact voting by non-citizens has on the results of the election, experts say it is actually minimal. As of last year, 120,000 permanent residents were eligible to vote. Of them, only around 13% had been known to vote in local elections. But the value of suffrage goes beyond just the numbers. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. It was a dustier start to the day with an ultra-fine dust advisory issued in most western parts of the country. While the dust level will show improvement in the afternoon with southwesterly winds blowing in. Daily highs are a couple of degrees lower than Tuesday, but they're still hovering way above norms, and the warming trend should continue into early next week. Sunny skies are a feature across Korea. Most of the dry weather alerts in the east have been lifted, but southeast regions, including Daegu and Busan, remain under dry alerts. Then we have some much-needed rain in the forecast from tomorrow on Jeju and southern regions, gradually spreading nationwide by Friday. It's going to turn into snow in mountainous regions in the upper areas. Gangwon-do and Gyeongsang-do provinces could see up to 15 centimeters of heavy snowfall. Frequent rain is in the forecast into early next week, which will bring down temperatures to below norms again a week from now. With that in mind, here's a look at the weather conditions around the globe.
On that note, we end our afternoon newscast, but do stay tuned for our panel session, which is coming your way in a few minutes. Thank you for now.